Hi everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to this rainstorm here in Oklahoma. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video if you like it, hit the notification bell, and make sure to leave comments. So we just ran down to Oklahoma because we got some advice from people that have more experience than we do when it comes to cows and calves and bottle calves and stuff like that. And you know, we've been tube feeding our bottle calf and it's been going just fine, but they recommended trying out a different bottle. So that's what we did. We just went to Tractor Supply, got a couple new bottle with a different type of nipple, and then we got an additional nipple because yeah, we're just gonna see if that makes a difference. So and then there's like another trick that we can do. We can try putting molasses on the nipple to encourage her to take it. So we're just gonna see if this makes a difference. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about something that was on my mind recently. There's been all this online debate about Elder Holland and his talk and talking to BYU, correcting them and taking a stand. And I see a lot of people that are against Elder Holland trying to use the argument to like basically that, you know, it's contention and that contention is of the devil, right? Because we know that the Book of Mormon teaches us that contention is of the devil, and that is true. Like, you shouldn't you know, necessarily argue with people over silly things. You shouldn't try and pick fights. You should try and find peace and stability. And but when it comes to the truth and the gospel, it is appropriate to stand for the truth. You know, not necessarily going up into people's faces and like trying to make them believe your point of view, but it is appropriate to respond to people that are saying things that go against the truth, and do it with, you know, the spirit of love, and not out of the joy of fighting with people. But, you know, we're called to stand for the truth. And Elder Holland even said that when he was talking to BYU. And yeah, he was talking to the professors and the faculty about, you know, pointing the muskets at the enemy. Excuse me. Which he didn't mean literally to fire guns at our enemies. He was talking about there's times when you need to defend the truth and stand up for what's right. And inevitably, when you do that, it is going to cause contention when the other side doesn't like what you have to say. And that's why when you present things, and, you know, it's not like I'm perfect, but we should always do it out of a spirit of love and just say things as they are. You know, love doesn't mean that you just like give in to the other side. You know, we need to stick to our principles and let people know where we stand, and lovingly encourage others to invite them to accept our beliefs. This is the state line. Now we're in Kansas. Wow, it is getting really wow, some pretty heavy rain. In my area, there's actually a flood warning, which is really good for me because I want my stream on my property to fill back up because it's been dry for a couple months now. And I need for my ducks and goose to be able to go back in the stream and swim around and take their baths. Anyway, I guess just the point of my video is don't let other people convince you that you should keep your mouth shut, because if you're standing up for truth, you're causing contention. That's not true. You know, I think that the contention that the scriptures is talking about is when you like fight over resources, you know, you gossip about people, and You know, just all the things that narcissists do in life. It's all about competition and manipulation, and and then some people just love to have a good fight. Of course, that's not good. But again, there's inevitably going to be conflict when you're talking about truth and the gospel. And it's not right to just hide and not talk about it because you're worried that it's going to make people mad. Of course it's going to make people mad, right? If you look at the life of Christ, all he was doing was upsetting people the whole time. Would you have told Christ to, hey, you need to scale it back. You shouldn't say those things. You're offending a lot of these rabbis and these Pharisees, and oh, you shouldn't call them vipers. You shouldn't call them hypocrites. Of course, you know, we probably shouldn't call people names, but I think it is okay to point out hypocrisy or the truth. Just doing it in a, as much as possible, non-contentious way. All the prophets have always experienced contention because when they spoke, people didn't like what they had to say, and that's exactly what Elder Holland, oh my gosh, a lot of lightning right now. Yeah, people did not like what Elder Holland had to say. You know, they got stirred up to anger, and that's not what Elder Holland was trying to do. You know, if we were just to submit to what our adversaries want, then we would cease to exist. And that's why they push this so hard, why they try to convince you that you shouldn't say anything because you're causing contention, or you're being judgmental, you shouldn't judge. And that's another thing. I think when it comes to not judging people, that's like talking about, don't tell somebody that they're going to go to the celestial kingdom, because you don't know what God's final judgment's going to be. But it's perfectly acceptable to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong, and I don't know what your ultimate fate is. I hope that you're able to overcome your struggle with whatever you're struggling with, whether it's gambling or drugs or, you know, adultery, whatever it is. But it is appropriate to say, hey, that's not right, and I love you, and I want you to have a happy life, and I want you to, you know, cut this out because it's not going to bring you happiness, you know. And there's those people that are going to be like, no, you shouldn't say that. That's judging. They completely take what we've been commanded by the Lord to do and not do, and they misconstrue it, and they try and twist it to their own ends. And those ends are, hey, don't tell me that I'm doing anything wrong. Which is also, it's a narcissistic thing to do, because narcissists don't ever admit when they're wrong. When you study narcissistic personality disorder, which again I believe is a spiritual disorder, not a psychological disorder, that's like one of the defining characteristics, is that they never admit when they're wrong, and you can't tell them that they ever do anything wrong. If you do, it causes a quote-unquote narcissistic injury, and then they will just rail against you. So they think that they've found a way to shut you up by saying, hey, when you tell me that I'm doing something wrong, you're judging me. And it's like, no, it's just that what you're doing is wrong. And I hope that when you reach your final judgment after this life, that you'll have mercy, and that you can make it with us to the celestial kingdom. That's where I want you to go. But I'm just saying that it's going to be probably hard to achieve that if you keep doing what you're doing, right? I will never tell anybody. I will never tell a gay person. I will never tell an adulterer. I will never tell a thief. I will never tell anybody where they're going to go after this life, because I don't know. right? Because that would be judging them. And there's people that do that. It's usually narcissists that are like, oh, you're gonna go to, you know, you're gonna go to Hades. You know, and I also cannot tell somebody not to come to church or not to take the I cannot tell somebody to not take the sacrament. That's up for someone that is authorized to judge, and that would be a bishop. And depending on how severe the sin is, you know, they may be excommunicated, and that's not something that I can do. But there are people that are authorized to judge, and it's bishops and it's stake presidents, right? So we can't do that. But simply telling somebody that they're doing something wrong or they're doing something that's against the commandments, that is not judging somebody, and that's not going against what Christ said. So anyway, you'll have people that want to make it all complicated. You don't need to argue with them. They're most likely a narcissist, and narcissists will not let up. They will not ever admit that they're wrong, so there's no point in arguing with them, right? But do stand for truth. Stand for it, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna let you go now. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like this video if you like it, hit the notification bell, and I'll talk to you later.